Yeah, I know. Anyways, I just wanted to give people like the back end of what retention rate is and why that's so crazy. 85% retention rate.
Yeah. So when Brooke told me that, I was like, oh, okay. And it was the first time ever hearing that. And it made me realize it's the people who are on LRP. And it's like what Sid just said, it's like your returning customers. And so I made a pivot. This was probably in June, maybe. And I was like, okay, I can put focus on my already enrolled customers, and their PV is just as good, if not better, than a brand new customer, because I'm not having to start at ground zero with a brand new customer and teach them all the new things. And so I do project broadcasts, and I do things on Instagram too, but I respond. So like one time Sid did a training and she was like, do you remember, Sid? You said something about like inviting or sending out free samples for people who did got on LRP. Remember that?
Yeah, like an LRP club.
And I remember a question I asked. I was like, well, what if they don't respond to me? And Sydney was like, well, they're not going to respond. Like, it's just a mass text. And I'm like, no, my people respond to me. Like, and it's a very common thing. It's weird for me almost when I send texts on Project Broadcast and they don't reply. Like, I feel odd. I'm like, you're supposed to reply, and they're actually not supposed to. They don't have to. But like, just the relationship that I've built with my customers and who they are to me, maybe I have a personal connection with them, maybe I don't, but they do talk to me, and there is that open dialogue and communication. So that is one thing that I feel like I've like tapped into, and because of Brooke, that she was like, your retention rate's so good. Then I like intentionally was putting focus. I was already doing those things, but now I'm like, wow, I do want to keep my customers around, and I want to get them on LRP, and I want to serve them because they are my customers, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which that goes along with like rank advancing. You know, like when you're hitting executive and elite and these awesome, really exciting first ranks to hit, you kind of feel like you're just like enrolling and sharing, and then like looking at your trade and you're so excited and you're like, oh my gosh, it looks good, or it looks shitty, or like I'm happy, or I need to work on it. Like there's all of these emotions. But once you get to that like premier and silver rank, it's like you need to go into this supportive role. Would you guys agree? Like,
Yeah.
and anyone who's premier and above can like, you know, chime into this too, but it's like, how can I support the women who are following me and engaging on Instagram and saying, commenting on your things? Oh my gosh, I love Adaptive because they've been your customer now for a couple months. Like, and it's really kind of hard. Like, as you kind of rank up, me and Eden have this conversation, I swear, like every day. It's hard to manage everything. And so when you're working smarter, not harder, of using Project Broadcast, supporting your customers with diffuser blends on your Project Broadcast, or supporting your customers through random emails of here's all about the new Meta Power through MailChimp, or whatever it is, that's working smarter, not harder. So you're supporting those customers. They're feeling like they're touching you without having to literally have 97 conversations going at once on your phone. So that's a really great switch to flip in your brain of supporting my customers, even if you haven't even hit executive yet and you've enrolled 4 people total. Start a Project Broadcast with 4 people. With maybe your mom is the only person you've enrolled and you have 1 contact on Project Broadcast. Support your mom, because then when you have 500 people on your Project Broadcast, it's going to be the exact same as when there was 1. Like, how you do the small things is how you do the big things. And so supporting is so huge with rank advancing, I think.
And I've heard people say, act how the person you want to be would act. So if you were like, I'm going to hit founder, what would that version of you be doing right now? How would you be supporting your people? So with your mom as your only customer right now, and you're doing Project Broadcast and you are creating awesome resources for her, act how you're going to act when you hit these huge goals, because that is telling yourself that you are worthy of hitting those goals, and you are going to show up for yourself. Not just, okay, when I hit that, when I do that, I'm going to do that. Do that now. Act like the person you want to be. I found it though. Sorry, that whole time I was like, where did it go? I found it. I'm just going to tell you guys. So I'll say it slowly. So just write it down. This page is awesome. Yeah, it just has a lot of information. So you're going to go to your back office. Maybe some of you don't know how to do that. You're going to log in to doTERRA.com. Okay. You're going to hover over your little account and you're going to click on My Office. Okay. From My Office, it's going to take you to your dashboard. At the top, there's 4 options: dashboard, team, My Office settings, wellness advocate services. Hover over wellness advocate services. I'm just waiting so you guys don't have to like scramble to write it down. Okay, then you are going to hover over genealogy. Then you are going to click on summary genealogy. And this is the page where a ton of information is, but at the top, it does have your retention rate. So it has the number of members that you have, and then it has the total active members that are on LRP. And then it will say your retention rate in a percentage form. So that's just good to see as you are like enrolling people and educating them, how many people are being retained. And that's a good thing to see. Like if it's going down, you're like, wow, I really need to hone in and educate my people more.
I'm just gonna say something really quick.
Yeah.
And I love being an example of what not to do. I love, like, everyone's like, Sydney, you're so great. I'm like, actually, I really screwed up for the first 4 years of my life with doTERRA. I just looked, my retention rate is 55%. And the reason it's 55% for the first, and I'm not exaggerating, you guys, from 2016 to 2018, I didn't get one person on LRP. Maybe like 2 people. Like I had no idea how to get people on LRP. And so if I showed you my tree right now, you'd be like, you don't want your tree to look like mine. And if I would have like solidified relationships with those people that like I loved and I got them kits, like my life would be so different right now. So really, maybe something that you can work on and do is like really finding good verbiage that like flows well with how you articulate and how you share LRP, and become really familiar on how you want to casually and professionally explain LRP, so that when conversations come up at a family reunion or a girls' night or family dinner or whatever it is, and people who have enrolled and are like, oh yeah, what is LRP? You can quickly, sign off 3 or 4 sentences of what LRP is in a kind, loving, like tactful way. Maybe that's something we all can work on.
Yeah. Mamie was even saying, I think it's maybe my verbiage. So it's funny that you just said that, because I think that's exactly what it is. And I think obviously like we're like, get on LRP. It's going to benefit you, and financially, and in my business, it's going to benefit me. Right. Mm-hmm. Always remember that we are here to serve the customer, and don't let that out of your sights. As much as we want people on LRP, that is the most important thing, is to remember that this is a human being with real human struggles, and we are here to serve them and help them and never force them into anything. I would rather someone trust me and form that relationship that I'm here to help you and serve you, actually, over getting them on LRP. Because here's the deal. If you are like, oh, this is what you need to do, and look, I'll sign you up right now and I'm just going to do it, and you get them on LRP, chances are they're going to feel rushed into it and they're going to cancel the next day. Whereas if you treat them like a person, get to know them, learn about what they're going through, what can I do to help you? And like, hey, here's a way like that's going to benefit you financially on a budget to get these products into your hand and help heal your freaking life. This is the best way. And if that's something that you think would benefit you, I'd be more than happy to help you set it up. Right. And if they trust me and then they get on LRP, they will stay on LRP. So I think verbiage, like Mamie, Sydney, you said it best. That's everything. Remember, it's a person. We're here to serve them. Obviously, we want them in LRP, but the way we come across, we want to gain that relationship first, because then they will become a loyal customer. Mm-hmm. Okay. if anyone has more questions, you can add them to the chat, and they can be anything. Is there, what's something that we wanted to get covered in this? Like, what's something that someone's like in the business, like really wanting to figure out? Is it founders points? Is it
enrollments, education hours, like anything for rank advancing?
Because we want this to be the most beneficial for you guys.
Okay, I have a quick question. I just like, I know you guys have enrolled like a ton of people. What do you feel like out of everything that you've done has really like grabbed people's attention? Like, was it giving a deal on a product? Was it talking about how you use a product in your daily life? Like what do you feel like has drawn the most people in to you?
So I've been talking to a few people about this, and I think this is huge. Obviously, mostly what we do is social selling, right? We're creating reels, we're creating online content. I love the in-person stuff that people are doing, but for the most part, I feel like we do focus on social selling. What I've said to a few people is, why would someone choose you to be their wellness advocate over someone else? So when they come to your page, to your Instagram page, what is going to make them choose you? Because there's a lot of people that sell doTERRA, right? Why are they going to choose you over someone else? Even in our community, what's going to make them choose, Sydney over me? Why is someone going to choose to trust you with, like, honestly, their mental and physical health and guide them through the essential oils? So when they come to your page, you need to give them a reason that they're going to choose you to be their wellness advocate. Have information. People want education and they want to learn something. And if they come to your page and they learn something from your page, they're going to come back. They're going to come back again. Think of your favorite, like recipe, like blogger cooks, right? When they post good recipes, how many times do you go back to their blog to look up, oh, do they have a recipe that's vegetarian? Or like, oh, I'm going to go to this blog because they post good desserts. The same is here. If you give something that someone's going to learn from you, they're going to come back to you. So I think a huge thing is to have your profile, the first thing that they see, be educational. Have your highlight bubbles, things that are going to help them. Oils and ear infections, oils you can ingest, cleaning with oils, my favorite doTERRA products, bedtime oils, whatever it is, those highlights right there are a wealth of information that people can click through. And they're going to see that and be like, wow, this girl has so much to teach me. I want to learn more from her. Does that make sense? Sydney and Whitley, or anyone, what would you have to add to that?
Whitley, I want to hear from you.
I agreed with everything Eden says. I don't know if I should add anything more to that, but I mean, that's what I've been doing with girls underneath me. I follow a lot of Instagram people who are experts at Instagram and Reels. And so I follow them and I literally do what they say. And so I've edited my profile, just like Eden just said. I made a clear profile picture that's easy to remember and recognize. And just the other thing I think I would add is, I know it's maybe hard for some of us on Instagram, but to show vulnerability. Sid and I talked about this, like, Sydney's the girl that like does those halftime shows in her basement, and I might not remember Outback Sheriffs, but I'm going to be like, do you follow that oil girl that dances in her basement? So I was telling Sid, I need like a thing, like, what's my thing? She's like, your thing is like the girl whose husband like loves doTERRA.
Yeah.
So okay, great. I'm going to put Tate on my Instagram more. So I think being vulnerable, personable, like, how are they going to remember you? Because there's a lot of other girls out there who give oil education. That one girl that does that oil, what's her name? But if they remember something about you, it's kind of like your trademark or your stamp. Like, oh yeah, the girl that dances, her name's Sydney. Type in Sydney and then it's going to come up, So I know it's hard and I know it's a little scary because you're like, I don't know who's watching my stories. I don't want them to see me or my kids, and they don't have to. I'm not saying that they have to, but I'm saying make a trade for yourself, make a name for yourself, a brand for yourself. Like, what's something that you do that you are willing to share with the internet, with strangers, that they are going to be able to like connect to? And I'm saying that for me also, because I haven't figured that out yet, but I follow this girl that's a home decor. She renovates. I freaking hate house renovation, but she's the cutest girl in the whole world. And I will go to her stories because I'm like, what did she do today? I want to go see what she's doing because I like who she is and I have no idea who she is, but she's made me like her. So
Mhm.
in the kindest way, make people like you, make them want to come back for you.
Mhm. I have like 2 points I want to share with this. And sometimes I don't know where to start with my thought process, but number one is my goal every single time I get on Instagram, and I'm not that good at it all the time. So like, don't look at my page and be like, wow, Sydney, you're actually not good at that. Cause sometimes I'm really not good at this, but, get inside the person on the other side of the phone's head. Like, we just sit and scroll for fun. It's like our hobby now. It's like our greatest passion is Instagram and we're all addicted to it. So like, you're just scrolling and scrolling and tapping and then this and then double tapping. Like, what's going to make you or the person stop and be like, oh yeah, I want that deal. Okay, yeah, I'm clicking on that link. Oh shoot, my credit card's in my car. Oh, never mind. I'll just I'll exit out. Or, oh my gosh, my credit card's in my car. I have to go get it. Like, what is going to make that person stop? Okay. And the only way that you can give off that kind of content and convert people from watchers to conversations, from conversations to actually buying, is making a client, what did I call it? An ideal client avatar, ideal customer avatar. I made an entire graphic for everybody. I'll like repost it because we forget and it's fine and I'll share it again. But that makes you like niche down to really concentrated, good content that like, and it might evolve. Like it's in a season of my life, I talked a lot about the heartbreak of infertility and what that's like and how hard that is and my broken heart over that and the oils I used for that and Magnolia and how that got me through infertility. And I reached a lot of women. And right now that's just not my narrative. I'm kind of over that. I don't want to be sad. So I'm not sad anymore. And so it can evolve and it can change. You don't have to be the same person that you were in 2020, in the fall of 2021. So it can change. But when you have that ideal customer in your mind, you know her name, you know the things that she's trying to fix in her family, you know how many kids she has, you know her hobbies, like you have named this person, like you're borderline schizophrenic at this point. Like that's what will generate and what really works. Obviously, like you're going to find a sweet spot of a lot of people took advantage of my $35 reimbursement or no one did, or you're going to find a sweet spot of, gosh, everyone wanted a free diffuser when I offered that. And everyone's different. Like me, Peyton and Tyler have been really trying to find those sweet spots, and it's different for Peyton than it is for me. And we have really the same kind of content. So I wouldn't even say that
Different from month to month, I'll say. Like
Yeah.
the offers I do, I'm like, this is amazing. And Eden and I talked about this, and it's like no one wants it. But then I'll do the same thing 2 weeks later and I'll get like 3 enrollments. And I'm like,
yeah. Like Peyton did a giveaway for her birthday of Stanley Cups and a gift card. And I loved it. And like, I would want that, but I was so surprised at how well that did. Like, she didn't even offer oils for free. It was a freaking Stanley Cup. So like, I don't know. There's just different things, but those are the things that I like have found that work for me. Sophie just said that she's so grateful for us.
I said, I was muted. I said, I love the avatar. I think that's so cool. And I feel like it creates a human behind the phone. I think that's just like the number one thing that I'm going to preach is like, we are talking to real life people, real life moms that are in the thick of it, and just talk to them. Everyone needs a friend, and that's what we are. We help.
Another little tidbit, this is just a social media like suggestion, is like, just don't sit in the same spot and say the exact same things. And I say this because I'm bad at it. That's why I'm like, don't go look at mine, because like I'm really bad at this sometimes. But if you're in the exact same spot and you have more than 2 slides sitting here at my desk with my pink wall behind me, like no one cares how much money I'm giving them back. No one cares how many diffusers I'm going to give them. But if I have like a different angle and I'm like saying something funny, or if I just reshare one of my Super Bowl halftime shows like onto my stories and then I talk about something, what is grabbing their attention, and like saying the exact same things is super boring to the person. No matter if you buy them a Lamborghini, they probably wouldn't buy it if you're saying the exact same thing. So maybe try to switch it up, and that really could be a huge thing.
Totally.
Right.
Well, and thinking about like, I just feel like in our society, it's so fast based. Like we're all addicted to our phones and like just scroll. We watch 2 seconds of someone's video until we just lost interest and we go to the next one. So think about the things that you are watching and what is piquing your interest. Is it someone that's talking into their phone for 20 slides? Does that interest you? Are you going to watch all 20 of those slides? So then on the reverse of that, be like, well, should I be doing that as well? So I love what Sydney said, switch it up, make it more fun and interactive, because all of us have ADD now. They're just like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And I want entertainment. So, you know, we are education givers. We're entertainers. We are like welcoming people into our circle, but we have to do it in an entertaining way that's going to get people to stay, because everyone's like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? So I love that.
Don't feel like rocket science. So like, as I'm talking about this, I'm like, gosh, there's so many like things we have to remember and like do.
Right.
But
Just
like,
yeah.
just do it. And Whitley said it best. Like, her and I had such good conversations on our road trip to Idaho. And I love, Whitley, when you're like, making reels is a creative outlet for me. And I resonated with that so hard. And it's almost like you put those words, like you articulate the words that I'm feeling. Cause like yesterday I had one of the hardest emotional days of my entire life. Like there's some heavy stuff going on personally for me. And I like got up and like I had been bawling, like weeping before I posted my big energy, like reel. And that was such a healing, like creative thing for me that like really healed my heart in those moments. Like finally having Lotto back on Instagram with that song, because she was off for a while. And like, it was fun for me. So like what feels good to you is going to be fun. And don't do the things that don't feel good for you. You know what I mean? Like, and then it won't feel hard and it won't feel heavy. And that will look different for you than for me, because maybe a Super Bowl halftime show feels heavy and hard for you. So don't do Super Bowl halftime shows if that's the case.
Yeah, I agree. I want to add on that like when you try to be someone that you're not, it drains you and it takes so much energy, and it's not serving you or your customers, because your customers need you. And like I remember like learning first about like the niche and how you just had to like, you can't serve everyone, but I was like, no, but I want to serve everybody. Like I'm an everybody server. And it was a really hard thing for me to like have opinions and say like, I'm doing this and I'm not doing that. And do you know what I mean? Because when you do that, then you really do find the people, they just like are drawn to you. And like all of you, a lot of us here signed up from watching an Instagram story. Why did you sign up? Because you were drawn to that person. So be that person that someone is going to be drawn to. And you're like, well, I don't know how to be that person. None of us know how to tell you how to be that person either. Like you are that person to your core, and do what feels good.
I love that so much. I love that. And because all of us have such different things to offer, because how boring would it be if we all just did the exact same thing? I love our community, and especially like at convention, we were all so different. And that's what made our community so unique and so special, is like not one person was the same. And it brings so much value because we all have such different angles that we are doing this. And when we came together, it was like magic. So find your thing. And it's going to be so unique to you, and it's going to feel good. And it's going to feel like fun. That's why I love this. Like we all have the thing that lights us up, and like, this is work, but it's fun. I loved Whitley's reel, the audio with like the laughing. It's like going on a trip with my besties, but using it a tax write-off because we call this work. Like that's what it should be. Don't make it not fun. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about ranks and what they are. I know for a lot of you, maybe you know what that is, but there's a lot of new people on here that are like, I don't even know what ranks really are. So when you start off, it is, I think it's consultant, right? I think that's like the first
wellness advocate, actually. Did you know that? I looked it up.
And then does it go to consultant?
Wellness advocate. Yeah.
Okay.
We have a little graphic I made. I can share it in the Voxer, Or you can look at it here. It looks like a bingo card, kind of like Brady Bunch, but it's cute.
Will you share your screen? Can you share it? Is it right there?
Yeah, I'll share it. But also, we can send you links of how you can look this up too. No way. What did Huey do to it, you guys?
Huey?
Get out of here.
Oh shit. I just freaking exited it.
Dang.
I don't have it. I'll text it in the Voxer right now.
That's okay. That's okay.
I'm so bugged.
No, you're fine. So when you enroll someone or someone's on LRP, you get volume. It's called OV, okay? Overall volume. PV is your personal volume. So when I make an order, I place my 125 PV order. That's my personal volume. It goes towards my OV, but OV is your overall volume. So you plus everyone underneath you, that is your overall volume. And you have to hit certain volumes to hit certain ranks. So I guess from wellness advocate, it goes consultant, then it goes manager. Then I want to say it's
Director,
director, executive,
elite.
elite. Are you looking at it right there? When you say
I
it?
don't know. So I sent it to Voxer, you guys. It's actually it's like such a
Oh,
cute
is it right
graphic.
there?
But I did combine manager and director together because I only had 9 squares, okay? But they're 2 different ones. So manager, director, executive, elite, premier. And you don't have to remember these, obviously, because Eden and I don't even know. We're like, wait, what? And I
Off
always
the top of my head, I'm like, what does it mean?
I know. But it is listed there what your OV needs to be and what the OV needs to be. After Premier, every single one of them, OV has to be 5,000. But your personal PV stays the same throughout the entire platform, which is amazing. So it doesn't mean the higher up you get, the more money you have to spend, which I love so much.
Right.
Did you say you sent that, Whit?
What's that?
Did you say you already sent it in the Voxer? I didn't
Yeah,
hear.
did it not go?
Okay, cool.
I haven't gotten it yet, but maybe it's just sending.
Yeah, might just be sending. Cool.
You and like Whitley said, you don't have to like memorize all of the ranks. You kind of just focus on the one that you're going for. Okay, we just got it. Thank you so much, Whitley, for sending that. That's so cute. So the first, like, I feel like you just focus on the one that you're going for, but we always set you up for Premier, which Premier is the first rank where you need people underneath you who are rank advancing. So like the main goal for everybody business wise, you know that first and foremost, relationships and people over everything. Like that is what we are built on. Just know that. But we're talking about the business side. So just know that I like relationships more than anything else. But we set people up for the best structure that we can possibly. So the first goal in your business is to find 2 people that want to do the business, who are going to be wellness advocates. And we have them on your front line. Because in order for you to hit Premier, which is the first rank where you need people underneath you ranking, you need 2 executives underneath you, which an executive is an OV of 2,000. So 2,000 over here, 2,000 over here. And then you up here will hit Premier. I feel like that could have been a rap song. It all rhymed. So when we're setting up, even when you're building to elite, which is 3,000 OV, it doesn't matter where the volume is coming from, but to be smart, we want to structure it in a way that it's going to set you up for Premier. Does this make sense? And if it doesn't, that's okay, because it takes a minute. We need to do more of these. This is such good knowledge. Oh, I'm so glad, Shelby, because these things are so confusing. And I even said this to, I think, Shayna, just in the Voxer. When I first started, I asked Sydney the same question probably 100 times. And you don't really wrap your mind around it until you're like doing it. And you're like, oh, until I was like pushing for Premier and I like was getting my executive legs. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But I think that that is like the first rank and like the only rank you need to really focus on at this moment, if that is where you are, because that's going to set you up for success. And then from there, you can move to the next. So from Premier, it's silver, right? And then we can focus on that. But at the beginning, you want to focus on Premier, finding those 2 wellness advocates underneath you, and we can start building underneath them.
Eden, can I ask a question?
Yes, you said that, Shelby.
Yeah. So this is like, we can talk about this another time, but how you're talking about like structuring, is there like trainings that doTERRA gives on like, I mean, obviously no one has a perfect tree, but like how to structure your tree? Like what's the greatest strategy in that?
There probably is. Sydney, or Whitley, do you know of any?
There's Jessica Moultrie. You spell her last name here. I'll do them check. Moul Moultrie. Jessica. Okay, Jessica Moultrie is like, I hope that's her name. That'd be so funny if that's like wasn't even the girl. She's like amazing at like structure. Okay, and like everyone has like their own strengths. So like look up Jessica Moultrie on like Instagram and see if she has like trainings and things like that. Also, like see if there's some podcasts on the Empowered Success that's like specific to placements, obviously. But whoever your like leader is that's helping you like hit ranks and like understand everything, we're all very well versed in placements. Like Whitley understands that. I obviously understand it. And so Eden obviously is awesome at it. And so you're really gonna learn it as you do it. And I know that's like not what anyone wants to hear, but it's just like so much information all the time that you're like, do I structure my team for power of 3 or do I structure it for rank? Can you structure it for both? Yeah, you can, but like if you structure it specifically for power of 3, you're just simply not going to hit premier as quick. And like people might say that's not true, but it's true. So I always structure everyone's team for rank instead of power of 3. That's my strategy, because it's nice to have $250, power of 3, $250. And yes, that's our goal, but your premier paycheck is going to be $250 anyways or more. So I want you to hit those ranks more.
I feel like when people talk about structuring for power of 3, like obviously I look at that. And if you don't know what power of 3 is, like quickly, power of 3 is a bonus that you get monthly. It's when you have 3 people underneath you that spend 100 PV or more, you get a $50 bonus. And that goes down 3 times. So when this person has 3 people and this person has 3 people and this person gets 3 people, then you get a $250 check. And it goes down 1 more, which I'm not going to go like say that a million times. But when that happens, you get a $1,500 bonus, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But the thing that's hard with structuring for power of 3 is like, you don't know what people are going to order every month. Mm-hmm. So that's what's like hard for me. Like, you know, when you enroll someone, you kind of have an idea if they're like more of a spender or they are doing bigger purchases. But I'm with Sydney. I like structuring more for rank advancements.
That's what you can get for founders points too. And incentive points. You're not gonna get power, like you get like 9 points total for power of 3 and founders. Like,
and with founders, because I was just, Shayna, I think I was talking about it with you. I'm like, oh, you don't even need to worry about your power of 3 points right now. I didn't hit those until my last month. Like the last month. The very last month. Like I was like, okay, I need to do my power of 3 points. And that was fine. You are going to get the most points if you're going for founders or incentive trips through rank advancements. I do want to say too, just on the topic of founders, and something that I found very beneficial is obviously the most points you're going to get is from rank advancing, right? But you also get so many points from people underneath you rank advancing. So if you want to be a founder, you do have to step into that leadership position. They're not just like, okay, everyone, you know, who gets 1,000 points, you just get to be founder. You know, because then anyone could just post something and then just get 1 million signups and they're founders. They want people that are leading other people, that are the leaders, right? So I focused a lot on the people that were underneath me rank advancing, more than I even focused on my own personal rank advancements, which was hard at times. Sometimes when you have a big goal, you have to focus on the people that are underneath you. So find the people that are going to be wellness advocates underneath you and help them reach their goals. And in return, you get those founders points as well.
It's like you have to completely step outside of yourself and not like, even like you might not hit a rank, but like your girl hit a rank, like you're like someone that you know, your person hit the rank, and that doesn't mean that you hit a new rank, but like, that's way more important than you hitting her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess that's another thing that you can kind of only understand like as you're in. It's like an experience type of thing, but
Totally.
Yeah.
And with the founders points, like there are requirements that you have to hit, and you have to hit a certain amount of points from your people rank advancing, and you don't personally. That's where you get the most points, but like you don't have to hit a certain amount of points for that, but you do for your people rank advancing. So yeah, that's super important too with structure as well, is to focus on your people. So when I'm saying set yourself up for Premier, set your people up for Premier.
Mhm.
Every single person that is a wellness advocate, I'm thinking, okay, we need to set them up for Premier. We need to find them their 2 people, like every single person. So
Mhm.
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Not a dumb question. Shayna said, is your leader just who you signed up under? So yes, if you signed up underneath me, then yes, I'm your leader, but you can always reach out to anyone. Like that's the cool thing about this community, is we're always going to help each other, and we can all collaborate with each other. Like I love, this is a prime example. I love when Whitley and Peyton do stuff together, and they're totally cross lines. Like I don't know, that brings me so much joy. It makes me so freaking happy. But yes, the leader that maybe you would reach out to if you're like, I want to rank advance, is the person you signed up with. And if you are placed underneath another person, then the person you signed up with is going to help you be in communication with the person they placed you under as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did that make sense?
There's so much support in this community. It's like, is it too much sometimes? Like, there's just so many people we can all reach out to.
I don't know how many other people have like done MLMs. I've done one other one, and I just think it's so interesting because that one that I was in, it was like, show up for your leader, like, you know, work hard for your leader, because that was ranking them up. Whereas I love how this is, because it's like, no, like the leaders need to kind of like come off of that pedestal and sew into everybody beneath that is needing that help, because that helps everybody. So I don't know. I just think that's so cool, like our way of how we do things. And I always find it interesting when people are like, oh, well, you can't pass the person like above you. Really? Because I've seen people do it at doTERRA, but it's funny that you think you can speak on it when you don't even do it. So I don't know. I just had to share that because I have been around and I've seen how other structures work, and that's why I love this so much.
If you don't want your people to pass you up, like you eventually will, because it's like another kind of high when like you see the people who you are in the trenches with, talking to every single day, FaceTiming randomly. Like Peyton, when did I FaceTime you last week? It was like 8:30 at night when like I'm FaceTiming her. And like Shelby, I just called you 3 minutes before this and we're like trying to collaborate ideas on new enrollments. Like you're in contact with, they're your best friends. Like, and if you like, you want them to go succeed more than you want yourself to succeed, truly. Anyways, Brittany, I just got your text. Who's on right now? Britt, are you on? I don't know.
Yes, I'm on. I muted myself because my child's screaming.
Okay.
In a good way.
Brittany switched from like a different team that like this is like classic what Mamie just said of like her upline really only wanted them to rank her up. So anyways, I love that you texted me.
Maybe I texted Sydney and I was like, hence, not
Yeah.
even a different MLM. Like I was on a different doTERRA team. And that's exactly what happened. It was her success and not ours. So
Which
here I am.
that's what's going to rank you. Like that comes full circle in this conversation of why Whitley's like put this together. That's what will help you rank advance, is by getting outside of yourself and saying, okay, my enrollments are your enrollments. Who can I place underneath my qualifying leaders that they'll vibe good together and they'll support this person? Like you don't want to be stingy and keep everything to yourself. You want to expand that. Like we're an abundant team. So that totally comes full circle.
Well,
Another
and like,
example- oh, sorry, you go first.
no, go ahead, Whit.
I just wanted to say another thing that I have done that has helped me grow into this leader that I've just like, I had this like desire and hunger for. I had this idea. I text Eden. I'm like, hey, can I text the people you've placed under me? Because your leaders above you are placing people under you. Like my tree is literally Eden's tree because I am under Eden, right? So there are people she's placed under me in order to help her rank advance and in order to help me rank advance, but they're her customers. And so I'm like, hey, can I text your customers? So I have this text that I send out to people. I'm like, hey, this is Whitley. I work with Eden and doTERRA. I'm another resource for you. Are you enjoying your oils? Do you have any questions I can answer for you? And then occasionally I'll put them on my project broadcast because their orders now affect me and their retention that's Eden's customer affects me. So of course I want to be there for them too, because it affects me, right? And so, and I've also talked to a couple girls that are under me that I'm like, hey, you should reach out to these people. And that, I think that's another way of that we've been able to retain people. And I text 2 people that were Eden's people, but she placed under me. And I said, hey, just so you know, there's this incentive doTERRA is doing because you enrolled last month. If you place 100 LRP order this month, you're going to get 50 PV back from doTERRA next month. I had 2 people that were Eden's girls say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me about this. I plan on getting on LRP this month. And then I let Eden know, I'm like, hey, there's these 2 girls, which is amazing for Eden, but even amazing for me too. And so it is teamwork. Like this isn't all about me and my success. It's not all about Eden and her success. Like you genuinely, doTERRA sent me this like little thing for one of my rank advance, and it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that is just ingrained in my brain, even though I just forgot it. Because it is all about going together. Because, and like Eden and I, we've like talked about like pushing the boulder up the hill, and I can physically like imagine this. And sometimes it feels so heavy when you're doing it alone. But when you link arms together and you push the boulder, it's not as heavy and it's not as hard. And that's exactly what we do in this community, which I love so much.
I love that. I was going to say from when you started talking, I'm like, cue retention rate. That is my retention is so good. I do just want to add, and we probably should end it. I know Whitley has to go. But let's do this more. I feel like this was super beneficial for people, but I want to add, when I first started this, I remember talking with Sydney and I wanted to create a Voxer. I'm like, Sid, have you heard of Voxer? Like, I think that I want to start one. I think I had like maybe 2 people. And I was like, I don't want to like start it though. There's 2 people in it. I'm so embarrassed. There's only 2 people in it. We're like, what the heck? Let's just do it. And I remember like wanting a community and like wanting leaders. And I wanted there to be so many people on the Voxer, but it started literally with just me and Sydney on my little Voxer. And then I just added people. And I remember like, it felt like I was pushing this boulder up by myself and I was trying to hit rank advancements, like trying so hard. And then all of a sudden, like Caitlin Garcia came along and I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, wow, this just got so much lighter. And then Whitley came and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Like your people will start showing up and that boulder becomes lighter. And like Whitley just said, I do enroll so many people that I can't help every single one of them. The fact that Whitley reached out to him and was like, hey, here's LRP. And they're like, yes. And I was like, holy crap, this boulder is like that now rolling down a hill and I'm watching it. I'm like, whoa, you know? So I remember starting just a little bit over a year ago and not having anyone helping me push the boulder. It was just me and Sydney. And now look like how many people we have. It's so freaking cool. So if you are just at the beginning of pushing that boulder, do what it takes. Don't give up because it's heavy, because it is heavy in the beginning. But as you add people, it's going to get lighter and it's going to start rolling. So that's just my advice. Sophie said, quick question. Has Project Broadcast proved itself to be worth it, worth the cost? I've been wanting to do something like that, or maybe a weekly email service. Okay. So here's the reason I love Project Broadcast. It is so personalized. We have a Facebook group, which is awesome because you can like put tons of content on there and people like can converse with one another. Emails are great because it is going directly to a person, but a text message is so personal. It's going straight to their phone. Like if your phone went bing right now, how many of you would pick it up and look who texts you? Like right now. But if you got an alert for an email, how many of you would pick up your phone and look at an email? A text is so personal and it gives you access directly to that person, like immediately. So I love Project Broadcast. I've actually had way less one-on-one calls because of Project Broadcast, which I still recommend one-on-one calls, but people have gotten so much information from the Project Broadcast that they didn't even feel like they needed to do a call. So I think it's worth it. What do you guys think who have Project Broadcast? Do you think it's worth it?
Peyton and Tyler both use it so much. I know they love it.
I was gonna say I use it and I liked it. I actually am kind of moving my platform, and you guys can check it out. I believe it's free, and it's called the Mighty Network. It's very, very similar, but I like it because it's almost like the best way I can describe it is it's almost like your own little social media page, and you can go live and record yourself like talking about like promotions that doTERRA has or whatever. And then they can personally message you, or like as a group, people can chime in and talk. So it's like a whole thread. So it's super, super cool. And then I think they can even do calls and stuff like that with you as well. So like that's another platform like I'm testing out right now. And I think I'm going to use it. And I really love it.
That's awesome. I've never heard of that. I need to look into it.
Can I quickly say something? I know you guys are trying to like do everything fast, but I was kind of against Project Broadcast at first because I had started like a little Voxer group and it felt so personal. But I have a neighbor that I've been sending Project Broadcast to, and she is like raving about it to her friends. She's like, oh my heck, she sends me these weekly like text messages and tells me how to use all my oils, and it's so amazing. And now they're starting to like contact me and be like, okay, why is this different? Like I've heard about doTERRA, I bought oils before, but like, why are you sending her text messages? And so it almost like gets the word out to more people too, which I had never even thought about.
Kelsey, I love that.
That's so cool.
It's so
Been
fun.
fun.
So cool. Yeah, I love it. And Shailene asked if you can people can respond back. It is exactly like a text message. So yeah, you can. The only thing I wish is that it could do voice messages because I love voice messages.
Me too. Same. It's so
Like maybe they'll do that in an update, but yes, you can respond back, which is so awesome. So I'll even have people text me like, Eden, help, my little boy has an earache. What do I do? And just like people being able to like reach out to me at all hours of the day. Not that I am on my phone all day, every day, but when I like set aside my time to do my Project Broadcast, I can directly respond to people, which is super cool. But you also get you can like send out that mass text individually.
I think we should do these more because there's so much information. We can go
Yeah.
over banks, we can go over Project Broadcast, MailChimp, all those little things. But I think we need to have these things like once a month or something.
Yeah, I almost was kind of thinking like after the calls on Tuesday, what if we stay on for 15 minutes just for questions, business related? Just like
That.
15 minutes after Team Huddle, everyone can just put all their questions. So like come to Team Huddle with questions and just put them in the chat and we'll answer them right there. We are going to end it because I know some of us have to go, but I love you guys and I hope this was super helpful.